My name is Jamie Beck, and I'm the president and managing attorney of Free to Thrive. Free to Thrive provides legal services and other support to survivors of human trafficking. I went to law school because I wanted to help people, and after graduating from law school, I had the opportunity to work at a large law firm. It was an amazing experience, and I really enjoyed my time there, but I still felt like I wasn't doing enough to help people. So I started volunteering as a pro bono attorney working with survivors of human trafficking. And what I discovered is that a lot of survivors of human trafficking have criminal charges that are related to their trafficking that serve as a barrier to their ability to be successful after they get out of the situation of being trafficked. Survivors have charges like drug charges or theft charges or charges for prostitution or loitering, and all of these things stay on their record even years after this has happened, and they have trouble getting jobs, they have trouble going back to school or getting housing, and they really can't move forward with their lives because of these records. I had one pro bono client in particular who had charges of theft and drug charges from when she was trafficked, and we worked with her to help her expunge her record and move forward. And even with an expungement, she still couldn't get jobs because the expunged records still showed up when you run a background check. After seeing that challenge that my client had, we started looking at what would it look like to change the laws to help survivors have a complete fresh start. When I was taking these cases pro bono, I learned that there were laws in other states that allow survivors to clear nonviolent criminal charges that are related to their trafficking. And those laws are called vacatur laws. And it's something that we didn't have in California. So I set out with other lawyers to help advocate for those laws in California. When that bill became a law and we had this new law that we could help survivors clear the records, I called up my client and I said, I'm going to help you clear your record, and she was my first case. Soon after this law went into effect, I realized that there weren't any lawyers in California who knew how to do this work. And lawyers started reaching out to me when they heard that I was starting to do this. And so then I started thinking of what would it look like to do this as my full-time job? What would it look like to help survivors with their legal issues as my job? And that's when I decided to start Free to Thrive. When I started Free to Thrive, I had no idea how many people would need our services and was very quickly overwhelmed with the scope of the need. I use the analogy of it's like running a marathon while putting on your shoes. We were just getting started, and yet the phone was ringing off the hook with clients looking for legal services. When we started the program, the funding that we had to start it was focused on San Diego, and our services were focused on San Diego. And yet we were getting calls from survivors not just in San Diego, but all around the state of California and around the country looking for help with their legal needs. And specifically, they wanted help clearing up their records. And we had this challenge of how do we support our clients in San Diego, but still not leave this unmet need of survivors in other places needing help. At the same time, we had lawyers from other places reaching out to us saying, we want to help, what can we do to help? And we want to help survivors clear the records up, but we don't know how to do it. When we faced this dilemma, we had three potential solutions. The first potential solution is to stay laser focused on San Diego so that it could really hone in on the model and the services, making sure that we're providing the highest quality legal services to our clients. The downside of this is that it wouldn't allow us to reach a large number of people. And there were so many people out there that needed our help. The second option would be to expand statewide and open up Free to Thrive offices throughout California. The upside of this is we could further achieve our mission and help more people. The downside is that if we expanded too quickly, we could ultimately fail because we're still a new nonprofit and we're still learning how to do what we're doing. The third option is to train lawyers in other communities to do this work. The upside is that it requires less resources of Free to Thrive. The downside is we don't have any quality control over those services once they're offered. If you were in my situation, which option would you have chosen and why? I knew we had to focus on providing the best, highest quality legal services in San Diego, but I also couldn't forget about the survivors in other places who also needed this help. And so we decided to train lawyers in other places to do this work. By training lawyers in other communities, we could bridge that gap between exhausting our resources in San Diego, but still making sure survivors in other places had that help. The next thing I did was I pitched this idea to our board. I wrote a memo to them laying out the issue, the challenges that we were having, the partners that were available in other communities, and the idea of training them. So knowing that we wanted to train lawyers in other communities, we had to identify funding in order to do that. So I started pitching the idea to funders of a capacity building initiative where we would go out into other communities, train lawyers to do this work, and provide them ongoing technical assistance to support them when they take these cases. After pitching this idea to several funders, a funder stepped up and said they wanted to help out and gave us funding in order to allow us to launch this initiative. The biggest surprise in all of this was how receptive nonprofits were to having us come in and train them. We're still a new nonprofit and we're still learning this too. And to be able to come in and work alongside them and help their staff become better equipped to do this work has been really exciting. And now we've really addressed this problem of if somebody calls us in a community where we don't have lawyers, we now have people on the ground who can serve them. We've also addressed the concern of quality control because we know these folks. We sat down with them and gotten to know them and really know that when we refer a client to them, that we trust that they're in good hands. Since launching this initiative less than 6 months ago, we've trained 6 nonprofits in 3 different counties in California. The trainings that we've done in other communities have opened up new doors and new partnerships that we didn't even know could happen. And now that we're there, there's so many opportunities and so many ways to move forward. We're still deciding what this all means for the future, but I do see a future for Free to Thrive statewide in California.